Welcome to the Midnight Mind. If this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button. And please don't forget to like the video, it really helps me out. It's midnight, and tonight we step inside the mind of Carl Jung. Every great journey begins in disruption. In Homer's Odyssey, the story opens with absence. Odysseus, king of Ithaca, is torn from home and hurled into years of wandering. For Jung, this is not only a tale of one man, it's the blueprint for the human mind. Each of us is Odysseus, called from safety into the unknown, forced to face the monsters within and without. The sea itself is more than geography. It's the symbol of the unconscious, the depths we fear, the forces we cannot control, the mystery that surrounds us. To set sail is to leave behind the shallow waters of routine and enter the vast expanse of the psyche. Most people cling to the shore, unwilling to leave the known. But Jung reminds us that the hero's journey begins when we accept the call to enter the sea of the unconscious. Odysseus is not the strongest warrior. He's not like Achilles, whose rage defined the Iliad. Instead, his weapon is intelligence, adaptability, and endurance. He represents every man and woman who must navigate life not with brute force, but with wit and persistence. His voyage is ours, the journey into struggle, temptation, fear, and ultimately transformation. Odysseus tells his crew, "Now listen, my friends, no longer can we rely on force alone. We must use cunning to survive what lies ahead." This is Jung's hero speaking. The journey is not about defeating life's challenges with sheer strength. It's about awakening awareness, drawing on hidden parts of ourselves, and facing the unknown with courage and intelligence. The archetypes emerge early in the voyage. The hero himself, Odysseus, who leaves the ordinary world to seek his return. The shadow, monsters and enemies that mirror his own flaws and fears. The anima, Penelope. The soul image, who waits and calls him home. The trickster, appearing in Odysseus himself, as his cleverness bends truth and illusion. And the devourer, the endless hunger embodied in creatures like Polyphemus, the Cyclops who consumes without thought. Each of these archetypes is not simply a character, they are forces within our own unconscious. The Odyssey survives because it's not about Troy or Ithaca, it's about us. Every trial Odysseus faces is a trial you will face. Every temptation he resists, every mistake he makes, every lesson he learns. These are the movements of the psyche on its way to integration. The lesson of the beginning is simple but profound. Your journey is not away from struggle, but directly into it. Jung said, "The gold is in the dark." What you fear, avoid, and resist, that's where your transformation lies. To live unconsciously is to drift endlessly, pulled by the currents of fear and desire. To live consciously is to set sail into those waters, steering your own course, no matter how stormy the sea. Every hero must face monsters, but Homer's monsters are not random terrors. They're mirrors, symbols of the inner forces that stalk the human mind. Jung taught that the unconscious projects itself outward. What you do not face within will appear before you, wearing the mask of fate. The Odyssey is full of these masks. Each monster Odysseus encounters is an image of the psyche, a challenge not only to his journey, but to his humanity. The first are the Sirens. Their voices sweet and irresistible. They sing of knowledge, promising secrets hidden from mortal men. Yet those who listen are destroyed, lured to crash upon the rocks. In them, we see the archetype of temptation and distraction. They are the endless voices of modern life, social media, shallow pleasures, empty promises, that call us away from purpose. To follow them is to be shipwrecked on illusions. Odysseus survives not by denying their power, but by preparing for it. He stuffs his crew's ears with wax and has himself lashed to the mast so he cannot break free. Here, Jung's lesson is clear. You cannot always silence temptation, but you can bind yourself with discipline. Self-awareness means knowing your weakness and creating structures to protect yourself when your will falters. The Sirens sing in every age, and every age must learn how to withstand them. Then there comes Circe. the enchantress who turns men into swine. Her island is a place of indulgence, wine, feasts, pleasure. Her spell strips men of their humanity, reducing them to instinct alone. Jung would call this the danger of regression, the psyche sinking into the unconscious, ruled by appetite and instinct instead of reason and spirit. Circe is not only myth, she is every addiction, every seduction of comfort that tempts you to give up the struggle and live like an animal. Odysseus confronts her, and with the help of Hermes' wisdom, resists her spell. He wins her respect, and eventually her aid. The lesson is not that instinct must be destroyed, but mastered. Jung insisted that wholeness means integration, not denial. Circe teaches that instinct is powerful, even necessary, but if left unchecked, it consumes identity. To face her is to face the animal within and to command it, not to be commanded by it. The Cyclops Polyphemus is probably the most famous of Odysseus's trials, a giant who devours his men one by one. He is the archetype of the devouring shadow, blind appetite that consumes without thought. His one eye is symbolic. He sees only in one dimension. He cannot perceive nuance, only hunger. Jung would say he represents what happens when the shadow is unacknowledged. It grows monstrous, consuming, destructive. Odysseus defeats him not with strength, but with cunning, blinding the giant and escaping beneath the sheep. Yet in his pride, Odysseus reveals his name as he flees, bringing Poseidon's wrath upon him. Here we see the double edge of the trickster archetype. Cunning saves him, but pride betrays him. The shadow is never conquered without cost. The most harrowing trial is the passage between Scylla and Charybdis, two monsters so close that to avoid one is to fall to the other. Scylla is a six-headed beast who snatches sailors from the deck. Charybdis is a whirlpool that swallows entire ships. There is no safe path. To pass between them is to accept inevitable loss. This is the archetype of the impossible choice, the moment in life when every path costs something, and innocence cannot be preserved. Odysseus tells his men, "No longer can we escape both death and destruction. We must face Scylla, though it tears the heart from me." Here, the Odyssey speaks to every human life. There are choices where perfection is impossible, where survival means sacrifice. Jung saw this as a fundamental truth of individuation. To grow, you must confront loss. To mature is to accept that no path is without suffering. The monsters we face are not obstacles to avoid, but teachers that strip us of illusion. Each of these trials reveals an aspect of the unconscious. The Sirens are distraction. Circe is instinct. Polyphemus is blind appetite. Scylla and Charybdis are impossible choices. They are alive today, just as much as in Homer's world. Your monsters may not have wings or fangs, but they wait in every temptation, every addiction, every blind hunger, every tragic choice. The lesson is the same. Mastery comes not from avoiding monsters, but from confronting them with awareness. Every journey must return home, but home is never the same once you've faced the monsters. In Jungian psychology, the end of the quest is individuation, the integration of all the parts of the psyche into a unified whole. For Odysseus, this is symbolized by his return to Ithaca, to Penelope, and to the restoration of his rightful place. The voyage across seas and through dangers was never just about distance, it was about transformation. Penelope represents more than a faithful wife waiting across the years. In Jung's language, she is the anima, the inner feminine that unites and balances the masculine psyche. She embodies patience, wisdom, and fidelity to the inner self. Odysseus doesn't simply reclaim her, he reunites with a part of himself that always called him home. To return to Penelope is to return to the soul. The Odyssey reminds us that wholeness is not achieved by killing monsters, but by integrating the lessons they give. Each trial has reshaped Odysseus. The Sirens taught him discipline. Circe taught him mastery over instinct. Polyphemus revealed the danger of pride and the shadow. Scylla and Charybdis taught the inevitability of loss. These are the stages of the psyche. forces that must be faced and absorbed if one is to live consciously. When Odysseus finally returns, he does so in disguise. He doesn't stride home as a conquering king, but as a beggar. This humility is essential. After facing the sea, no man returns unchanged. Individuation is not about inflating the ego, it's about placing the ego in harmony with the deeper self. The hero who returns knows that power alone is not enough. Wholeness requires balance, patience, and wisdom. When Penelope finally recognizes him, she says, "There are secret signs we both know, and no one else has seen them." This is the language of the unconscious. The recognition between inner and outer, conscious and hidden. The reunion of Odysseus and Penelope is not just a marriage restored, it's the psyche united, the masculine and feminine, the outer action and inner depth, meeting again in wholeness. For Jung, the end of the hero's journey is not triumph over the world, but integration within the self. You don't conquer your monsters to destroy them, you conquer them to absorb their wisdom. You don't silence the Sirens, you learn to withstand them. You don't slay Circe, you learn to master instinct. You don't annihilate the shadow, you face it, integrate it, and transform it. This is how the unconscious becomes conscious. The practical lesson is this: life will confront you with your own Odyssey. Temptation, instinct, blind hunger, impossible choices. They'll appear in some form. The question is not whether you can avoid them, because you can't. The question is whether you'll face them consciously, with awareness, or unconsciously, as a puppet of forces you refuse to see. Awareness is the mast to which you must bind yourself. Without it, you're lost. Individuation requires patience. Odysseus doesn't return quickly, he wanders for years. He makes mistakes, he suffers, and it's the same for us. To know yourself deeply, to integrate the unconscious, is a lifetime's work. Jung never promised ease, he promised only that the gold is in the dark, that within the monsters you fear lies the transformation you seek. And so the Odyssey is not just an old poem, it's the living map of the mind. Odysseus' journey across the sea is your journey through the unconscious. His monsters are your shadows. His trials are your temptations. His return to Penelope is your own reunion with the soul. The Odyssey endures because it's about now, about every human life that dares to set sail into the unknown and return home transformed. If you have any thoughts on today's episode, I'd love to hear them. Leave me a message in the comments section below. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button for me and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time.